Good evening and welcome to A Celtic State of Mind. It's Champions League night, Celtic against Bayern Munich, kick-off coming up at 8 p.m. I'm Chris McElwain, filling in for Paul John Dykes, who's thankfully getting to attend the game tonight, which is great because he doesn't get to do that too often. I'm hoping to be joined by Sean Connolly at some point during the pre-match, but certainly for half-time and full-time. But in the meantime, what I will try and do is essentially speak to you guys, try and bring up some of your comments and talk about the upcoming game. We'll look at the lineups shortly, and then we'll talk about tactics and maybe even some notable omissions, who I'll get to in a moment. But thank you very much, everyone that's joining me. I can see the numbers rapidly growing as we've started the podcast, and hopefully over the next 30 minutes we'll build up some good numbers. So, as I said, thank you everyone for joining. It is the first leg of the Champions League match against Bayern Munich. It's, as we discussed earlier today with John Yogi Hughes and Patrick McGill, it is certainly in recent times one of the biggest European ties that we've faced. You look back on modern day successes like the run to Seville, for example. You look at the occasions where we've got through to the last 16 under both Neil Lennon and Gordon Strachan, and some cracking matches and results along the way. What I'd like to know in the comments is where would a positive result tonight, where would it rank amongst those victories? How would you hold it up over time? And what would you like us to take into the second round in Munich, other than the obvious, which is a strong win? But I think we need to be realistic about the opposition that we're up against. So before we get into the comments, what I'll do is I'll run through the lineups. So if you'll bear with me, we'll start with the hoops. So we have what many people would perceive as being the strongest or the most settled first choice lineup. Obviously, new additions like Jota and Schlupp may come into play in that as the weeks go on. But for the moment, we have Kasper Schmeichel in goal. We have Alistair Johnson at right back, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Trusty, a partner in central defence, and Greg Taylor, tried and tested. I am just going to bring... You can hear me?
Yep. Hello.
Awesome. I'm just running through the lineups at the moment, Sean, then we'll bring you in for your thoughts. Midfield, we have Kalmak, the captain, and the stalwart of that central midfield, alongside Arne Engels and Rio Hatate, and then a front three of Nicholas Kuhn, Dyson Maeda, and right up top, Adam Ida. Sean, welcome to the show, mate. I appreciate it's really late for you, but thanks for joining. Just ran through the Celtic lineup there. Not sure if you had a chance to take a look at it.
That was the first I've seen it, so I'm reacting live.
Reacting live, awesome. Very much the tried and tested, I think.
Yeah, I guess the only real surprise was is Maeda came in. Not because we wouldn't have Maeda starting, but because he was suspended until Monday night, and then as Brendan Rodgers said, he ran the legs off him in the last couple of games. Expected him to be missing tonight, so I don't expect him to play 90 again tonight, but we'll see. I don't think so. I think Jota will probably come on from at some point, and I think I don't think there's any other anything to say about it. It's our strongest team. I think you might argue an up to pace Jota would get in there, but that aside, that's pretty much our strongest team. Thank you, Ian, for the comment.
Absolutely.
That's what you want to see tonight. There's obviously big game, big team. You always get your best lads out. Yeah, it's as good as we can get, I reckon. Obviously, aside from the fact that we're a striker light coming out of the transfer window, it's the best we can get.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think if you were to put money on any player being able to do consecutive 90 minutes, you'd probably put it on Dyson Maeda. I have to say, I really like the quip that said the only reason he's playing tonight is because being Dyson Maeda, he managed to serve his 2-game suspension in one match, such as the speedy moves at. So I like that one. I mean, I think it's, as I said, it's what many people would have expected us to go with. I think the only question marks were over, would we maybe see Jota coming in and Maeda playing through the middle as opposed to Ida. But I think, Brendan's been quite upfront about Jota's fitness, been very impressed with him in training, but said he has got a way to go to reach physical optimal levels. Let me just bring up just for the Bayern Munich team. just so we can take a look at what we're up against tonight. So, I mean, it's almost like spot the big name, Sean. We've got Manuel Neuer in goal. We've got, I think it's Leimer at right back. Upamecano and Dyer in central defence. I think Dyer is in there as a bit of a makeshift central defender, so could be opportunity to exploit there. Rafael Guerreiro taking up the left back position. He's a quality player and got his big move a few seasons back. We've got Goretzka, tried and tested hand in midfield. Joshua Kimmich, who is one of the most lauded central midfielders in Germany at the moment, probably going to get a big move, if not this summer, but certainly in the next year or so. Michael Olise takes up the right attacking midfielder, so the right wing position, signed from Crystal Palace just in last summer, I think it was. Musiala, who many people have been speaking about and extolling the virtues of, a real good kind of typical number 10. But then the player left wing playing number 10 is someone Patrick McGill spoke very highly of today, Leroy Sané. And no surprise as to who is taking up the number 9 position. It's Harry Kane, who we know can be among the, is always going to be a goal threat. 50 goals and 55 appearances, Sean. So when you look at it like that, and we know games aren't won on paper, but it's an intimidating lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was just thinking to myself, look, it's just my personal opinion, but Jamal Musiala is just so good, so impressive that like you could put him into any team. Like I reckon if you took him into Bayern team and swapped him with one of our attacking players, like the odds would change significantly. Like not necessarily swing into our favour, but I think he's a difference maker in any team, and I'm going to be like, if we can get through these two ties without fouling him to concede a penalty, then I'd be surprised, to be honest. They've got quality everywhere. They've got power everywhere. It's next level stuff. I'm surprised that they've even finished in the position they have in the league phase to be facing up against us. I know that the final is in their home stadium, so they're targeting that. And all the stuff I've been hearing about the last couple of days is that they're super offensive, super attacking. They play a really high line, really hard press. So they basically play like our system, but on steroids, with more quality players. So it's going to be a real hard one. They did lose 3 games away from home in the league phase. So I guess there is a chance tonight, but it's going to have to be pretty good, pretty on it to do that, and maybe hope that they're a bit distracted by Bayer Leverkusen at the weekend, but I don't think so. They're 8 points clear, so I'd say they'll be more focused on trying to get to the final at the Allianz.
Yeah, many people tipping that game to be a bit of a title decider at the weekend, but I think you're right. And I think they've got enough about them in their squad to cover off both matches. Just talking about the comparison between the two teams in the Champions League. So Celtic finished obviously 21st place with 12 points, but Bayern Munich finished in 12th, but only 3 points more than Celtic with 15 points. 20 goals scored in the Champions League compared to Celtic's 13. But as you say, that away record is not the best. And also you mentioned the fact they play a very, very high line. Could that offer opportunities to our key players such as Daisen Maeda, Nicholas Kuhn, players who like to get in behind, hopefully Ida finding himself in positions to get the early cross potentially. I mean, we do have the weapons to hurt most teams in Europe, including Bayern, if we can stay disciplined. Yeah,
that's going to be key for us, is the pace, I think, of Maeda and Kuhn, and I think that's where the chance. I think we're going to have. We're not going to be putting a low block, I would say, but we're going to be kind of pegged back quite a lot. So I think it's going to be key to have a bit of composure coming out of the box. Playing out of our third, and then have the quality to release Kuhn, release Maeda, and hopefully Adamida as well. So I think if on the break with those 3 could be crucial. Maybe it'll be more emphasis on that in Germany, but certainly even tonight, I don't think Bayern are going to be shy to press a high line and press on our third of the pitch tonight. So I think we do need to, be composed, be focused, and try and exploit that pace that we have on the wings to create those chances and take the chances when we do get them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you spoke about Musiala earlier. We've also got Goretzka and Kimmich in central midfield, coming up against obviously our midfield of Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate, and Arne Engels. We really need those guys to be on it tonight. I think a lot of scrutiny on McGregor's performances in Europe when he has been pressed back and pushed back. But at the same time, we know that when he's on his game and he's getting the appropriate level of support, he can influence the match. But it really needs those guys to be on it tonight, because that's a hell of a midfield three that they're up against.
Yeah, look, you can pick out any 1 to 3 names in the Bayern Munich team. Look at that unit and just be like, yeah, we're outgunned here. So we need to rely on the intangibles, not the names tonight. The crowds, the effort, just the luck of the gods at some point. I had a look just as I was coming on there at the odds at the bookmakers. Have you seen them?
Oh, well, not good.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know what it's like in Scotland, but in Australia we're 13-2 in old money to or 7.5, whatever way you translate it, just to get a win, and we're 4-1 just to get a draw. So we're quite heavily underdogs here. This is basically the odds that Celtic get going to Pittodrie or going to Tynecastle. So I don't think that the bookmakers fancy us tonight, and I don't think too many people will.
Well, listen, I wouldn't put past their supporters to be putting a cheeky bet on there. I think a lot of people would, will back the team irrespective. Obviously, everyone gamble responsibly, please. I know it can be a dangerous road to go down, but hopefully everybody gets. If they do take a wee punt, they get a wee bit of luck tonight. I mean, luck's going to play a part tonight, Sean. I mean, we're not really known for our luck in Europe. One decision, one deflection, anything can happen. How would you expect us to start off the game tonight? A lot of people were talking about we should, go right out and attack, and as they use the Scottish term, get into them right for the start. Big John Hughes today was saying, no, this is a point where try and soak it up, look for opportunities to counter, try and stay disciplined and not give away those chances like we did against Villa, where we gave away one goal and then immediately we get the other goal through the deflection and we were losing. We really had to work hard to get back into that game. I don't know if we'd get the opportunity to come back should we go a couple of goals down against Bayern.
Well, I'll be pretty upset if we start the game the same way we did against Aston Villa, because the problem in that Aston Villa game was Morgan Rogers was just getting free rein. So I'd be hoping that midfield is a bit tighter on the runners than it was that day. And to me, that was the big feature against Aston Villa in the spells where we were struggling, was just free runners in the midfield. You could also make the point that the right back was giving us a hard time before he went off injured. So there's a slight concern about the overload in the wings as well. Yep. So it's going to be a lot of work for the midfield. McGregor, Engels, Tati, one to pick up the runners from the middle and two to support the fullback, which I guess means a lot of work for Maeda and Kuhn as well to be tracking back. So absolutely. I guess that we spells where Ida could be looking a bit isolated, and that's where we need to be playing out with quality when we do win it back. Hopefully we are winning it back and not picking it out the net to kick it off again from the centre.
Absolutely, yeah. Discipline, I think, is key. Mentality is key, and I think just doing the simple fundamentals is going to be key. I'm going to bring in some of your comments just now, so open with Mikey Boy. Hail troops, buzzing for this one. No idea why, but I have a good feeling about it. I like that, Mikey. We get at the back line, we can score goals. 3-0 for us. Hope's dashed when he's going to 5 minutes. Come on, Mikey. You had us going there for a minute. Going to your point, Sean Slabber and Cabbage, I've got 20 quid on 2-0, 4-1. Well, I'd love for that to go through. I think it's that Seedall 123. As Han Solo said, never tell me the odds. Absolutely. I love that one. A couple other comments coming in. Franny Weldon comes in. What a starting lineup Bayern have, all the more satisfying when we beat them. I love that. Love that confidence. Look at this from Forever Never Celtic. Got even money. Jungle Lions, the first comment to be read out on the pre-match. Easy money. See, you never know. We can upset the odds. Tony Daverin comes in. Welcome to the channel and thanks very much for your support. Trying to beat Jungle Lion at the first comment read out. 2-1 Celtic with a made double. Well, you weren't the first comment read out, but you certainly neither was Jungle Lion. So but you're more than welcome, Tony, to come on with your comments. And we will bring Jungle back in. Hopefully, Bayern have one eye on Leverkusen's and Saturday title decider. I think it's worth hoping for, but I would doubt it. They've played. That looks to me, Sean, like a really strong lineup that they've put out, and I think signals a bit of a statement of intent. I do want to talk a little bit about our substitutes, so I'll bring the team back up. So on the bench, we have Sinisalo, who made his first appearance at the weekend. We have Benzo, as Paul John insists we now refer to him. There, obviously, to do what he does on the bench and G the players up. We've got Liam Scales, Jota, Yang, McCowan, Jeff Schlupp, Navrojki. I mean, who would have thought we'd see him on the bench for a Champions League game like this at this point in the season? We have Johnny Kenny, Dane Murray, and Tony Ralston. Conspicuous by his absence there, Bernardo, someone that you'd maybe put among the first potential substitutes to come on should we need him. Sean, obviously that injury that he picked up is keeping him out. That's a big loss for us.
Yeah, the bench is looking a bit thin, isn't it? We've got McCowan is the only real one you would say, and he's only came off the bench 3 times in the Champions League this season, so it does change the dynamic. And obviously with Johnny Kenny as the backup striker, I'm just not, I think the only real depth and quality we have there is Jota on the wing. I'd say Schlupp will probably be the one who would come on in relief at left back just because of his pace. No harm to Scales. He comes on at left back a lot of the time because of his height and his prowess and the aerial prowess, and that really suits us in these domestic games where teams just start chucking it in the box. But I think again up against Sane or Musiala or whoever's on the wing at that point, I think Schlupp will be the one coming on. I actually would have some people talked about starting Schlupp, and I don't know if that would have been such a bad idea given his pace and power. But I guess he's not quite. Having watched him the last couple of games, he's still working his way into the system, still getting his head around it. So I think it's more that than anything. And maybe we're also expecting to be pinned back so much that the pace is not overly relevant at that point.
No, but I think what Schlupp does bring, perhaps towards the end of the game, is a bit of experience, and we do have a little bit of experience on the bench, as you say. Liam Scales can come in, able deputy or replacement rather for, Trusty, for example. Should Trusty be having a hard time or get injured, I think you're right. Schlupp can come in at left back. I think potential also for Schlupp to come in if we do need relief in the deeper midfield. It looks as though he's pretty comfortable playing there. So with the loss of Bernardo, Schlupp could potentially move into that position. So there's definitely options. Talking about some of the players on the park, I mean, Rio Hatate, very up and down in Europe this season, very up and down season actually for him. He has been on form recently. It looks as though he's rediscovered a little bit of a spark in recent matches. Unfortunately, one of the aspects we talk about a lot with Rio Hatate's game is that sometimes that inability to maintain possession. Tonight is one of those games where we just can't afford to lose possession too often, because this team has got players all over the park that could just counter very, very quickly. I mean, there's pace and abundance in the Bayern team. So what we're looking for is the Rio Hatate who played against Leipzig, much more disciplined, maybe, as we've said, keep it simple. Don't try and be too much of a maverick. But at the same time, that's what, when he gets it right, it can result in a win for you. So it's a bit of a trade-off. How would you like to see Rio Hatate play tonight? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he saved his best games for the Champions League this season. So
agree.
Hopefully he has another one tonight. He was rested at the weekend, or attempted to be rested at the weekend, and then ended up playing an hour. So hopefully that's not too negative an impact. But when he's on it in these games, he can cover a lot of ground. He can show a lot of composure. He can show a bit of magic on that long ball. It's his assist that gets us the win against Young Boys, that ball down the channel. In the Leipzig game, obviously, he scores the third goal, which really puts a nail in the game. And, he can really get around a lot. He can cover a lot of ground. And in possession, he can be really strong in possession when he's focused, and he's got a real tight turning circle, low centre of gravity. He's very good at that. So I think hopefully we're seeing him turning players on the edge of the box and unleashing those forward passes with quality, rather than being caught in possession or ball watching, not watching their runner, that sort of thing. Because I think if you thinking back to the the chance that young boys, the Kasper Schmeichel double save when the guy's running through free from midfield. That's Hatate's runner that he's not picking up. But then Hatate, and we're all saying get off the pitch, Hatate, but then like injury time or whatever, like in the last 5 minutes, he is then the one that plays out from the back, gets the ball in the channel and releases that real quality through ball for Adam Ida to win us the game. So that's the two sides of Hatate you can get within one game. So I don't even know, like, that young boy's chance, we're not getting away with that tonight. If we get that free runner, he gets found in the box. I don't think Schmeichel's making a double save against Harry Kane like that. So again, he's gonna have to be on it tonight, Schmeichel. But I don't think that Bayern are going to pass up a chance like that.
I think Big John made the point today that we could get a 3-0 win with Schmeichel getting man of the match, and John's point was that if we get a 3-0 win, Schmeichel would have to be the man of the match against this team. I'm going to bring in a few more comments. Let us know how you're feeling. Is it starting to get to the point of anxiousness, or are people just getting to be excited? Are you doing a gym, or are you behind 3 or 4 sofas at the moment, or are you primed and ready for what could be an incredibly memorable match? Let's have a wee look at some of the comments. So Slabber and Cabbage comes in. Hope you guys realise that the halftime show will be mayhem for 1-0 up. To be honest, I think it might be mayhem if it's nothing each. Cabbage, to be honest. Quarterback punt comes in. Crowd is the 12th man tonight. I think that's really key. We spoke about the noise levels, the atmosphere at Celtic Park. Just want to give a wee shout out before we move on. Liam McGrandles, who's a friend of Acsom, has been on This Is Acsom. Obviously subjected to a lot of negativity on social media. He was due to play pre-match. I believe he pulled out of that. It was his own choice, but largely due to a lot of abusive comments coming through on social media. Obviously, everyone at Acsom wishes Liam well. We know he's an outstanding performer. I know how much that would have meant to him tonight, and hopefully he bounces back. I know he's getting a lot of support from from many quarters as well, which is great. Just one thing to remember, guys, and it applies to us as well. We all experience it. Always remember a human being at the other side of the camera, the other side of the social media account, and it can't be nice sometimes for not only us but our families to see that sort of thing. So, it is always important to try and treat people with respect. But as I say, Liam getting lots of support, and I'm sure he'll bounce back on that. Going to bring Mikey Boy back in. We're winning this tonight. I've never been so certain. Keep the faith, boys and girls. A very special season is happening. I wouldn't argue with the special season. I mean, I think we've almost got to that point, Sean. I mean, it's always going to be really difficult to accept this as we've done well this season, so this match doesn't matter. Every match matters when you're a Celtic fan, and every loss hurts. No matter that we've maybe exceeded expectations this season. It's easy enough to say we should just enjoy it and be pleased we're here, but we're here because we want to be, because we feel we deserve to be, and really we've got to show that we belong at this competition at this level. So the one thing you don't want to do is really show yourselves up tonight by getting a hammering. I think what we're looking for at an absolute minimum tonight is that respectability. Show that actually, even if we don't get the result, that we've given Bayern a game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, results are all that counts. But yes, that's and I do wonder that when people and I do the same, right? So, but I do wonder when we talk about. I think it was the press conference last night, talk about going to Germany still being in the tie. That's a very nebulous term. I mean, what does that mean? Does that just mean like a 1-goal loss? Because if you're going to lose 1 goal at home, what we're going to do in Germany? I don't know that anything less than a draw or a win is keeping us in this tie here. To be honest, it's one of those ones, like, even if we win 1-0, it's probably like the Scotland-Netherlands thing where James McFadden scores at Hampden. We beat Netherlands 1-0, then go away and get slapped 6-0. So I'm not sure that, keep us in the tie is a very loose term. And yeah, we will, if we do compete, we'll take solace in the same way. When we lost 3-0 to Real Madrid, we competed for an hour and we took solace from that and put that down as a marker. But what we really would like is to have a result to point to and say, look, Bayern Munich came here and we beat them, or we got a draw, or we rattled them for an hour or something like that, and hopefully it's something more tangible than just we had them on the back foot for a minute. We're trying to markers of progress. Last year the only thing we had in Europe was a last-minute winner against Feyenoord when we were already knocked out. This year we've made the top 24, and I wonder if the transfer window suggested that the board maybe see that as a glass ceiling. We've overachieved this year, fine, tick, build for next year. If they do plan to build for next year, but if that's not the case, if we do have more to show this year, then tonight is the night that we'll see that, and hopefully we do.
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing you don't want to do is put any negative connotations on it, but is there a perception, Sean, that if we get a result tonight, through grit, determination, luck, whatever you want to call it, if we get a result tonight and we go into, into Munich, as John Hartson puts it, with something to hold on to, do we then look back in the transfer window with a bit of heightened frustration that we didn't perhaps build on the assets we had and actually give ourselves an even better chance to go through? I mean, would that frustration come through? And as I say, I don't want to put a negative connotation on it right before the game starts, but that's something that a lot of people might consider.
Well, I think it depends how things play out as well. Like if Adamida pings a hamstring in the first 20 minutes and we're playing Johnny Kenny up front for 70, then sure, that'll definitely be the narrative. But if we get cuffed 3-0, I don't think you can really blame the lack of a Kyogo, a lack of a Fiskgarden at that point. I think it's just all round quality, and at that stage, you could maybe be looking at not getting Tierney in as well as an issue. But yeah, it's for us to be able to compete at this level now. It's changed days, right? When we used to compete at this level, when we had Larson, Sutton, Hearts, and that was a team where we would sign players that were at their peak and good quality players. Like if we wanted to sign the equivalent of a Sutton from England just now, there's no way we could afford it. Same with Hartson. But so now we have to try and sign players that are quality enough to compete at this level. We have to get them young. We'd have to get them. They're going to go on at some point because these young players come here to try and move on to a higher level. So we have to try and get them all at once. So that takes an immense amount of work. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. The likes of Kyogo want to move on, and I'd love for us to do it next year or this year. Like this year's still an ambition. We're just about to kick off a game in the last 24. I'm not writing us off, but. If we've shown progress so far, if we could show even more, what could that do for us in the coming transfer window? Turn heads. Players might want to sign more at that point. We could really kick on next year. Who knows? Maybe we'll get spanked 5-0 tonight and it's all irrelevant, but I hope we lay a marker tonight and show that we're here to compete.
Absolutely. Well, let's just see how we are at half-time. I can see the players on the park at the moment, so we'll let people get away and watch the game. Sean, last bit of business, just need a prediction from you for tonight.
I'm going to go with an optimistic one each.
Optimistic one each, fair enough. I'm going to go a little bit more optimistic. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Celtic. A late goal by a returning hero, Jota, coming off the bench. So that's my prediction. At least that's what I'm hoping for anyway. All that's left for me to say is thank you very much, everyone that joined us for the pre-match. Appreciate everyone's support. I know everyone's desperate to go and start watching the match. Hope everybody enjoys it. We'll be back at halftime, irrespective of the result. So please join us there. So thank you again for joining us on Celtic State of Mind.
Yeah.